prolapse is not diagnosed. You can do anything that does not make you symptomatic. So the overarching rule with prolapse is not diagnosis, but symptoms. And so we can do this through pressure control, which would be by maintaining alignment of the rib cage over the pelvis so that the diaphragm and pelvic floor work together when we breathe to manage our pressure. So it really is based on how well you tolerate certain things. Now, incline walking, and especially outside, is really great because it creates a natural forward lean. And a natural forward lean will help you keep those alignments a lot easier, as well as help you drive through the glutes instead of taking really long strides, which will make it a lot more difficult to keep that nice alignment. So I have an older post on walking form. It is on a treadmill, so I will share that next. Yes, hemorrhoids can be related to your pelvic floor because it's pressure down on those vessels. So if it's related to constipation and difficult bowel movements, and you're trying to strain and push even harder, you're achieving the opposite because you're just squeezing your pelvic floor more as you squeeze and strain and don't move air and breath, and increasing the pressure on that area, making your bowel movements even harder. But I also very frequently get questions from people about hemorrhoids related to after they lift heavy. And it's the same concept as overall pressure control for your pelvic floor, which is that if you're bottling up this pressure and not managing it well, it's just going down and it's going on those areas. So that's hemorrhoids related to both topics in different scenarios, but the same thing. That will be for free for anybody, and it's almost done, maybe end of next week, beginning of the week following that. So I will definitely share it on here and all the other ways that I connect with people so that they can access it. Typically with the crease and the overactive upper abs, it's the ribs are being held down with the external obliques, which are overactive or overpowering the muscles from below. So creating a balance with the internal obliques and the transverse abdominis would help to improve that. But you certainly could be trying to anchor flared ribs down with that excessive upper ab gripping and presenting with that as well. Creatine is well studied and tons of evidence to support its safety and efficacy, especially in perimenopause, menopause, postmenopausal women. So in general, there is a 3 to 5% reduction of muscle mass every decade after the age of 30. If you're not doing something to promote muscle growth or maintain it, you can see how there'd be a steady decline. Specific to perimenopause, menopause, creatine supplies energy to the body, not only the muscles, but there's shown that it can have cognitive effects associated with hormonal changes of perimenopause and menopause. So energy, cognitive function, as well as promoting, maintaining muscle mass. So huge thing of that. Dr. Mary Claire, if you follow her, which many people do, is a huge supporter of creatine in the menopausal, perimenopausal group. I do not eat at a deficit. I don't track what I eat anymore, but it's certainly not a deficit. I hate being hungry. I've said this many times. All I do is prioritize high protein and fiber, like vegetables, good nutrients, and then let the other things like carbs and fats fall into place. So you don't restrict on anything like that and kind of just eat as my body is feeling, higher carb, lower higher fat, whatever at the moment. But I also want to note that everybody, there are different body types. I am definitely body type. I carry my weight in my butt and my thighs, thick thighs over here. And my uncles were Major League Baseball players with big, thick quads and hamstrings. It's a little hereditary. So I do also want to say that, but overall, I'm in maintenance mode. I don't restrict anything in my life. I eat chocolate. I'll eat chips sometimes, those sorts. So Protein will help you build muscle, and then muscle at rest has a higher resting metabolic rate than fat. So improving metabolism as well as insulin sensitivity. So how your body uses glucose, stores it, or disposes of it is shown to be improved with increased skeletal muscle. And then if you're not used to eating high protein, if you're not eating protein, it's not like you're just adding protein all the time on top of everything else. But when you prioritize that protein and add in your carbohydrates and fats around that, you will be more satiated, and it's really hard to overeat on that protein. If you push that out of the way, it's easy to fill in with other things like carbs and fats, but then you're not going to get that muscle building perk that you're looking for. Yes, the psoas has an intimate relationship from the rib cage to the pelvis and is associated with the diaphragm. And a lot of people will see in a forward anterior tilt that muscle is shortened and painful. And sometimes we need to bring it back into a resting position where it can release. And so that can be related to breathing. If you have a rib flare where the ribs are up and out, the diaphragm is descended in an inhaled state. To allow the psoas to come back to a resting position, we need to get a full exhale and allow the diaphragm to ascend. That's one part. A second reason why that could be is because if you have a weak core pelvic floor, other muscles are going to substitute for that weakness and be doing a job that they're not meant to do. And so if that's the case, that can also be why the psoas is painful, where creating strength of other parts of the body allows that muscle to do its job.
Stop stretching your hip flexors and try this instead. If you're constantly stretching without relief, it's because the psoas is not the problem. It's just a victim of poor pelvic position. Because of its attachment points, a chronic forward pelvis is going to keep the psoas in a shortened position. If we can...
Yes, I'm so excited, and that's what we've been spending so much time on. So in general, if you're looking to heal your pelvic floor and core or learn how to use your pelvic floor and core in exercise, that's going to be for you. Diastasis recti, leakage, prolapse. It's meant to address all of that. So there is a strong educational component to begin with that you have to do for the rest of it to make sense. And then I divided the 12 weeks into 3 4-week phases. And the first phase of 4 weeks, we focus heavily on rib cage mobility, overall total body mobility, and breathing. And how do we connect your breath to lengthen the pelvic floor and what I call overall pelvic floor down training, or releasing tension if you're someone who holds tension, so that we can add strength the right way. So there are built-in assessments that you can follow to see if you're ready to go to the next phase or stay. Once you get your foundation of how to inhale and lengthen your pelvic floor and exhale and contract it, move into the next phase, which is learning how to add upper body and lower body movements, more traditional things you would see in exercise, but still very rehab oriented type stuff, to get all of this integration on board. So that's what I called it, integration phase. It's lighter weights and lots of band work, and learning how to use that foundation we created in the first 4 weeks into total body. And then the last phase is the strength phase, and workouts change to be body part specific days where we are pushing heavy weight, because now you've created your foundation of how your core and pelvic floor should work with movement. And now we can really add strength to maintain all of the gains that we made with mobility and everything else. And so you know how to do all of that in traditional strength training. Everything is completely programmed every single day. The videos are to follow along with in real time. So I'm kind of coaching you through it, reminding you of cues that you need to be thinking about, and other people are doing the videos with me. And I can point out on them mistakes they might be making or things they're doing right, so you can identify that in your body as well. You would ditch whatever you're doing currently because it will replace that. It is 5 days a week. One of the days is yoga, focused on pelvic floor relaxation, total body mobility. Eventually we'll add some more strength. After that, then there is an advanced program where we'll do burpees, all these other things. How does your pelvic floor work in there? Jump preparation comes into play near the end of strength and advanced strength training, where again, we can just push a little bit harder with weights and intensity because you already have that foundation.
And then there is a return to running program that is 6 weeks long. It would be done after you do the 12 weeks, so you understand your pelvic floor because it is higher level. If you took the running workshop, we definitely cover pose, method, and form, as well as give you a structured program to follow for 6 weeks, which includes 2 strength days specific to runners, single leg strength and core, some jumping, some force impact. 1 day a week is mobility yoga. And then there's going to be specific running programming about how to include these form changes over that time. Very specific, like this is what you should run on this day for how long, as well as drills that you can follow along with and do in real time. So there's that. There'll be advanced core. So excited.
It can be, and it can be other things. So vestibulodynia, the vestibule is the area that surrounds the entrance into the vagina, just to give you a general idea. So initial penetration with intercourse or a pelvic exam can elicit pain and create chronic pain in that area. I've seen a lot of it be related to hormonal issues. So a brand new breastfeeding mom with low estrogen and postmenopausal low estrogen, addressing that side, as well as the side of using a pelvic wand and dilators to train the body and your nervous system response, because that's a really huge thing with chronic pelvic pain. Is we don't want to feel pain, and when we're in an intimate situation and that happens, that elicits a feeling that your body remembers, and on the next attempt and the next attempt. And learning how to down train those muscles to be able to relax so that you can work through that is a really... When you experience chronic pain, your response is to create tension, whether you consciously notice it or not. And then in anticipation of that happening again from your previous experience, you're going to upregulate tension. And when we do that and we restrict our breathing because we're fearful, and it's normal, is we choose that opposite nervous system pathway of that fight or flight, which upregulates heart rate, blood pressure, cortisol, and which pain pathways we take. So you address the physical things of tissue quality and hormones and breathing and tension and mobility. And then you can't forget about the other part of we need to reteach our body it's safe and it's okay and how to breathe when something comes to that vaginal entrance and your response is to create tension, and it's normal. Can you breathe and relax, and can you change that experience? Really important too. Yes, you want those levels to stay consistent. So I take mine every single day, regardless of what I'm doing and regardless of the type of workout, or if I'm not working out. I used to put it in with my protein shake. What I've been doing for a while now is I put it in with water and my electrolytes first thing in the morning. And sometimes I get real wild and I throw my magnesium bisglycinate powder in there with it in the morning. So I'll drop a link to the Pro Mix one. At its largest size, the price per serving is the best value. So if you know you're gonna buy it and take it every single day, per serving is one of the best values I've seen for quality from a company.